What are your thoughts on what's taking place right now? This idea that we're actually debating socialism, right, this populism taking control. Your new book, right here, right now, hitting store shelves today. Your new book examines this populism and underpinnings of how President Trump won the 2016 election. Explain.
Yeah, it's not just about President Trump, but you see in almost every Western democracy now, Canada's an exception, in almost every Western democracy, you see the rise of an essential Trump-like movement. It's a conservative, sort of conservative populism, but that has problems with the way markets, trade policy, immigration policy have been handled. And
by the way, we saw it in Brazil yesterday.
Yeah, you're seeing
it in Italy as we speak.
You're seeing it all over the world. And I know a lot of traditional conservatives, their reaction has been to bemoan it or condemn it, and there are things I think we can disagree with. But I think it's important that we listen to people and we adjust our policies to address these concerns. I think the concerns are real. I think in some cases they're legitimate. And as you just said, the alternative, if we do not address them, is not to kind of go back to the way things were. The alternative will be left-wing socialism, which I think is far more dangerous and which would take our Western economies on an inevitable and long-term decline.
So do people on the extreme left pushing this socialist idea not understand economics? I mean, we've seen socialism at work in Venezuela, for example, and we know what it is and how it impacts things.
Well,
why have this debate?
It is, look, it is perplexing. Here we have an economic philosophy that literally has failed every single place it's ever been tried, sometimes more spectacularly than others. And that's just on the economic side. Forget the political tyranny and repression that usually comes with it. So why does it keep coming back? You know, your guess is as good as mine. I frankly attribute it to the long-term support for socialism and Marxism that has existed in Western academia. When we're old enough to remember the fall of the Berlin Wall, what always struck me about the fall of the Berlin Wall is we found out that all the Marxists were on the Western side. On the Eastern side, they'd long since ceased to believe in that. But unfortunately, this philosophy continues to get perpetuated through academia, and you now have generations of people who have never experienced what socialist economics really mean and what it really does.
Good analogy there. Prime Minister, your new book also lays out how business leaders can actually adapt in this age of disruption. Tell us about that.
Well, there's a lot of different things businesses need to do. I think the most important thing is to understand that we're in an age where public opinion can form very quickly and very unpredictably through social media. So first and foremost, business leaders have to be very conscious of how their actions are affecting society, what kind of relationships they have in the communities they operate in. And the single most important thing they need to do is build networks so that the people they deal with, suppliers, customers, communities, understand their value proposition and understand how they benefit from the activities of the company. Because if you don't do that, if you don't build those networks, you're extremely vulnerable to some kind of unpredictable political upheaval.
And you could apply that to what's happening with China right now. I mean, the president and allies have tried to build this network to go up against China. And that's what a lot of the critics of President Trump's tariffs have been saying. You know, let's not fight with everybody. Let's make sure everybody's on the same team against China. Tell us about China's practices and what really needs to be done to stop that behavior.
I know there's a lot of criticism about the specific of China's practices, the intellectual property theft, these kinds of concerns, and they're real. But, Maria, I think the problem with Chinese trade is actually more fundamental. We've ended up setting up a system post-WTO. I can criticize this because it happened before I was there. Where really, you know, the Chinese can have wide-ranging access to our markets. They can sell an awful lot here at kind of when they want and where they want and at what quantity. It is the opposite in the case of us. When we go to China, we can only sell what the Chinese say we can sell, when they say we can sell it, and in what quantity. So the market access is radically different, and you're seeing that reflected in these trade statistics. You would expect a poor country like China to have a trade surplus with the United States and Canada, but these are surpluses that just keep growing as China's wealth is growing, and it's due to unequal market access. And I believe if you look particularly at your country, the United States, You know, you have a situation where you have a country that is potentially larger and a geopolitical rival having unequal access to the United States market. I think this is a very serious economic and political problem. And while I can disagree with, you know, we can debate some of Trump's tactics, the fact that he is willing to address this, I think, is very important.
Yeah, I think you make a really important point in terms of market access. Now, the Chinese have said, okay, in 5 years, you will be able to own outright a company that is Chinese in 5 years in the auto sector, or in the banking sector, rather. We'll see what that means. So if they can open up markets, that would be one victory. What are your thoughts on the national security part of this? Because that's another issue for this administration, whereas China has started creating islands in the South China Sea. They don't own the South China Sea, obviously, and yet they're creating islands and then putting military bases on those islands.
There's been an assertion in many circles that China's nationalism is strictly defensive or strictly inward-looking. I do think you're seeing growing signs that China really does have a more aggressive posture than people think. And the building of islands in the South China Sea is frankly outrageous. In my judgment, Chinese territorial claims, which go, you know, hundreds of miles from their shore, literally to the coasts of other countries in Asia, these are not reasonable claims. And so, look, I think this is all part of the thing we should be concerned about. We do want to engage China economically. There's advantages to be had. Frankly, China is a better place today than it was, you know, many years ago under Mao Zedong. But nevertheless, this combination of trade aggression and increasingly military and strategic aggression, I think, should concern us.
And more disruption here, and I know your book speaks right to that in terms of business leaders thriving in that environment. Mr. Prime Minister, it's great to see you. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
Congrats on the book. Stephen Harper joining us there. Pick up the book right here, right now.